Hello again, my DIY loving friends, and welcome to Medicated Housewife DIY, where crafting and mental health come together. Let's dive into the world of upscale home decor without the upscale price tag. In this video, we'll show you how to transform everyday Dollar Tree items into high-end home decor pieces. And as an added bonus, as someone who has battled anxiety and depression all my life, I found crafting to be an incredible stress reliever. So join me as I share my creativity and a little bit of crazy with you. Now, what are we waiting for? Let's go DIY together. For this DIY, I'm starting with one of these cute little cloud-shaped mirrors from Dollar Tree. I've already taken it apart and saved the mirror, although I have no idea what I'm going to do with a cloud-shaped mirror. But anyway, I'm using the cardboard back of the mirror as a template to trace and cut two pieces of white poster board that are also from Dollar Tree. I want to reuse the cardboard backing, but first I'm going to cover it with one of those cut pieces of poster board. I use some Elmer's glue stick to attach the poster board to the cardboard template, and then I check to make sure it fits nicely into the cloud-shaped frame. I have a piece of cane webbing from a roll that I got on Amazon, and I'll link it for you in the description box below. Then I use the cloud frame as a template and trace it onto the back side of my cane webbing. And first I used a pen, but I couldn't see the tracing, so in a stroke of brilliance, which I'm saying completely sarcastically, I chose to use this gold-colored Sharpie marker to trace the cloud, and I regret that decision later, as you'll see, but I was able to see the traced cloud quite clearly. Then I'm going to cut the cloud shape out on the cane webbing, and I check to see that it fits into the frame, and I'm going to be trimming it wherever necessary. And back to that gold Sharpie marker. Yes, it left gold marks all over that plastic cloud frame. I tried nail polish remover and rubbing alcohol to no avail. I ended up using this 91% alcohol and rubbing very vigorously with a cotton pad to remove most of that marker. Still not perfect, but I removed enough to satisfy me. Moral of the story, don't use permanent marker to do this. To attach the cane to the poster board, I decided to use this Elmer's clear glue, which I don't use a lot, but I wanted to make sure the glue would be totally invisible, and that was the best I could come up with. So I spread the glue on generously, used a foam brush to really get the whole poster board covered, and then I placed my webbing down and used some heavy bottles and jars to weigh it down and to keep it flat while it was drying. The cloud frame has this deep kind of lip on the inside edge that I really don't need. I used a little hot glue to kind of fill up the indentation inside that cloud, and then I used a thin line of hot glue on the inner edge to attach that to my poster board that has the cane webbing glued on top of it. Then I pushed the cane firmly against the inner frame. I needed that second piece of poster board to be level with the back edge of the frame, so to fill up some of that space, I had a bunch of these square wood beads from a Dollar Tree wood bead garland. I placed them all over the back of the cane webbing cloud and secured them with hot glue. Then I used more hot glue on top of the wood beads before placing that second piece of poster board down on top of them where it was flush with the back edge of my frame. Lastly, I had some of these small wood people that were painted with white chalk paint from a previous project. I'll link them for you below. I used hot glue to attach 3 of these wood people to the back of my cloud frame on that poster board to use as legs for the project. And this is my adorable small cloud tray or cloud riser. The cane webbing mixed with the white color is just perfection in my opinion. I love the high-end look of cane webbing in general, and this cute little cloud just brings a little bit of fun into the mix. Perfect for bright and airy rooms, to hold small decorative items, or in a bathroom for a small perfume bottle or jewelry. I think we can start our own little cane webbing or rattan cloud trend. Who's with me? For this next DIY, I'm using 76 tumbling tower blocks from Dollar Tree, although I did make a couple of extra just in case, because you know I like the extras. I'm going to paint all 76 of them using this super strong instant coffee to stain them. I just love the warm neutral color that coffee gives the wood. Not to mention, I love that coffee smell. I'm painting all sides of all 76 of the blocks with the coffee, including all the edges and all of the ends. I did 2 coats of the coffee on each of those sides to really warm up the wood tone. Then I use a dry paper towel to rub away the excess liquid before I set them aside to dry. Next, I'm using Superglue wood glue from Dollar Tree, and I am going to make 2 block sets that are glued end to end out of all of the 76 blocks. So I'm going to end up with 38 of these 2 block sets glued end to end, as you can see me doing right here. When my block sets are dry, I grab this large glass cylinder vase from Dollar Tree, and using some E6000 glue, which I will link for you below, I'm going to start gluing the 2 block sets standing up against the glass vase, all around the bottom, as you can see me doing right here. And I leave a tiny little crack of space between each of the sets of blocks, and I do my best to make those spaces as even as I can, just eyeballing it as I go around the vase. And I apologize for the back of my big hand blocking so many shots of the gluing, and I guess I was just not thinking about my camera angles. Sometimes I just zone out and go into a craft trance because crafting is so relaxing, so I apologize if some places are hard to see. I glue the blocks onto the glass, leaving just about 1.5 inches of space that has no blocks at the very end. Now, I knew I wanted to add a rounded design that came out from beyond the vase, but I was not positive how I was going to get there. So I experimented with placing the blocks in different ways to see if I could get the look that I was going for. But in the end, I realized I needed another object to be placed there to achieve the look that I wanted. So I ended up using this small plastic jar I had from Dollar Tree. It did have a hinged top that I had already removed, and I started to attach the blocks to the jar, the same as I did with the vase. I went around the jar, and I'm going to stop again with just a small amount of space that has no blocks attached, and I'm going to leave that space open. And at this point, I could attach the block wrapped jar to the block wrapped vase. As you can see here, I used more E6000 to secure the vase piece to the jar piece and allowed it to dry for several hours. I have this faux leather tape that I will link for you below. It's really just like leather looking duct tape, and you can use the Dollar Tree faux leather for this as well. I cut a long piece of tape and I had placed it on a piece of parchment paper so it was easier to work with, kind of like a sticker. Then I cut the long piece of tape in half lengthwise and I folded the edges inward on the 2 long pieces that I had just cut, and hopefully that makes sense to you. So after removing the parchment paper and pressing the folded tape over, it looked like I had 2 little faux leather strap pieces, as you can see right here. Using some hot glue, I attach one of my faux leather straps around the wood blocks along that middle seam where the 2 blocks are attached to one another. And I tuck the ends of the leather straps in between the blocks to camouflage them on both the beginning and on the end of each of the leather strap pieces until the entire project is covered with the leather strap going over the seams in the middle of the block sets. And this is, oh my goodness, I don't even know what to call it. It's a wood covered double vase or a single vase with a wood sidecar. I'm kind of at a loss, but either way, I really like the look of this piece. It has a real sculptural quality to it, and I think the leather and the wood with the glass is a real upscale kind of decor feel. It definitely does not look like a dollar store project. I think it has a more modern look than rustic, but it could go either way. Definitely open for interpretation, but I call this one a win. This next DIY is really me wanting to get in on the paint pouring trend, but I had no pouring paint, so I thought I'd give regular acrylic paint a try. I've got these 2 small glass vases from Dollar Tree, and for the first vase, I take some Folk Art Vivid Orange, some Apple Barrel Bright Yellow, and some Apple Barrel White, all of which I will link for you below, starting with 1/4 size of the orange, poured into the bottom of the vase, followed by some of the yellow on top of that, and then probably way too much white poured on top of that. I start swirling the paint around the bottom of the vase, and already I know there's far too much solid white in there, so I add a bit more yellow, then orange, and swirl it around more. And then I touch more white because I wanted to break up the orange and the yellow, and then some yellow to break up the orange. All the while, I just sort of spin and turn the vase to try and move the colors around until they get close to the top of the vase. Then I'm going to turn the whole thing upside down to rest on some parchment paper to fully drip out of the vase and then to dry. For the other vase, I grabbed some Folk Art Nautical Color chalk paint, some Apple Barrel Laguna paint, and some more of that white. But to give this one a little bit of a beachy kind of a look, I want to add some Apple Barrel Warm Buff as well. I start with the Laguna at the bottom of the vase, and then I pour some of that nautical color over that. And then I pour some of the white on top of that, although not as much of the white as I did with the first vase. And last, I added some of that warm buff, although I do wish I added more of that buff color. This time I grabbed a skewer and I gently moved the paint around to get more of the marbled look to the colors. And then I begin the swirling around the bottom and up the sides of the vase. I added some Laguna that dripped onto the side of the vase instead of the bottom, but I had to keep going to try to make that work. So I continued to spin the vase around and around, adding drops of color as I thought I needed them and turning the vase until all the paint reached to almost the top, at which point I just turned the vase upside down and rested it on a piece of parchment paper to continue the paint dripping out. And these are my paint poured vases, and yes, I know I used the wrong paint and I was using it inside the vase, not pouring it over the outside, so technically not paint pouring, but I love working with the different colors so much that I'm just going to have to go out and buy all of those Dollar Tree pouring paints. All of them. And by the way, that orange and yellow vase is giving me major creamsicle vibes. I also do really love the blue color vase, but next time I want less dark blue and more all the other colors. All in all, still a fun, easy project and always a surprise. And you know the drill. I want to know what you think. Let me know in the comments which one of these high-end Dollar Tree DIYs was your favorite and why. You know I love hearing from all of you. And if you've enjoyed this DIY video, there's another one waiting for you. Just click that link on your screen for more Medicated Housewife DIYs. Also, I'd love for you to join our little crafting family and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and until next time, my name is Sarah. I'm the Medicated Housewife, and crafting is my medication.